live streaming over YouTube, so bear with me so I can let some people come on here. Let's see if this works. Does it look like I'm live? Is it showing notifications that I'm live? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, if you are watching this live right now, do me a favor and share this with everyone, any photographers you might know. I'm just going to give everyone a chance to get here. Let me just give everyone a chance to get here. Once you get here, let me know in the comments that you are here. Say hello. Say, here I am. Let's see here. So hopefully everybody gets the notification. I had a lot of people on here, so just bear with me while I comment to everybody that the link is here. Okay, let me know in the comments. Say hello, say here for it, so I know you're watching. Let's see. I'm trying to see where the comments are at, actually. I don't see comments. Okay. All right. Okay, let me check in with Lily. Check in with her real quick. Lily, I don't see comments. Are you able to see? I can't see anything. Let me see. Oh, there we are. Okay, hey, I see you guys there. There's Lily. Okay, thank you. I was kind of freaking out. So let's get started. Hi guys, Maria Ariano here with Finding Magic. This is my new YouTube channel. I decided to relaunch it. If you guys have noticed, I've been putting a ton of effort into creating, better produced content, all of that good stuff. So I want you guys to help me grow my channel. The more you guys interact with it, then the more free content I can create for you. As you know, I do have a subscription site where I do show you how do I edit, how I shoot, and also how I run my photography business. Be sure to check it out. It's findingmagicedu.com. But don't worry, there's going to be lots of content coming up here in the YouTube channel. The second thing is, as you guys know, most of you are here for my Finding Magic Facebook photographers group. So if you're brand new to my channel, be sure to hop on over to Facebook and join my group, okay? I used to go live in there almost every Tuesday, but now we're moving that over to YouTube so that I can repurpose content, because we got to work smarter, not harder, and we really want to blow up the channel, okay? So with that, let's get started with today's live training. Feel free to drop in the comments and let me know if you're part of the inner circle or if you're part of the Finding Magic group. So hashtag FMPE if you're in my Finding Magic group, hashtag inner circle if you're in my inner circle. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is going to be the last photo we're going to do my little tricks with. It's going to be a very difficult photo, as you can see. This is actually a client, and there is a lot of detail and a lot of issues that we're going to need to fix. So I'm going to show you guys how I speed up my workflow so that I don't have to be in Photoshop for hours. It still takes me a minute, but it's not as bad as it was when I first started. So I call this stealing pixels, cutting up images, collaging, whatever you want to call it. But it's just the best and easiest way to speed up my workflow, right? So let's see which one we're going to start off with. We're going to start with a simple one, not that one. That one's well, actually, we can use this one. All right, let's just hop in. I'm going to grab my selection tool here, and I'm going to just select this area, which is perfect. It's a beautiful part of the backdrop. All I'm going to do is hit Command J to duplicate, or Control J. The next thing I'm going to do is drag it over to the image that I want to fill in. This is my problem area right here. So as you can see, I dropped it right over here. It matches fairly well due to the lighting. I can always adjust that later. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing is, let me see here, I'm going to go to Edit, Transform. We're going to go to Free Transform, actually, like this. And this allows me to play around with my pixels or my area that's selected. I'm going to grab the corner and rotate it over so it's vertical. And then I'm going to drag it over to this area. See how it's covering that space? I'm going to adjust it just a little bit more. I can click on the shift and it allows me to kind of mess around with the pixels. And then I'm going to hit the check mark. And that's it. It's right there in the area. Now it's not perfect, obviously, and that's okay. What I can do is add, let me make sure here. Okay, it looks like I need to free transform it just a little bit more. Okay, making it a little bit bigger. I'm going to add a mask, which is down here. And I'm going to select a black brush. It's going to be a nice soft black brush, and we're just going to gently kind of blend in that harsh line right here. As you can see, it's a very soft brush and it's too big, so now we're going to have to put it back on. Okay, now it's right here. I can then flatten my image, and now what I'm going to do is blend these edges a little bit more. So I'm going to do that with my patch tool, because I tend to mess up. Yes, it happens, you guys. I make little mistakes. What I'm going to do is duplicate this background layer just in case I make a mistake. So I'm going to hit Command J one more time. I'm going to grab my patch tool, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this area and drag it over to another area. What I'm trying to do is just blend these two areas together, and I've selected just the square at the top. So just grab and kind of drag, and this is going to allow the pixels to kind of blend. Does it work with everything? No. This is a solid background, right? So it's not like a super busy background, so it's a lot easier to blend in. If I had buildings and stuff back here, obviously we couldn't do that, but this is just to show you guys. Now, same thing with this. I can, again, steal some pixels. So I'm going to select the corner here. Try not to select her little arm. Okay, well, it looks like I'm still selecting the arm. I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform. Again, Free Transform is awesome. This time what I'm going to do is drag it over to my right, just to make sure that the backdrop fills in my entire frame. So I'm going to hit Shift and grab this corner and just drag it over until it covers the backdrop completely. Now, as you can see, it did kind of drag over her elbow. So I'm just going to erase that here. And now that we've done that, we have completely filled in our background. So we'll go ahead and flatten it, and my background is full. That was super simple, right? Do you guys have any questions? Lily, I'm going to have you message me on Messenger the questions because it's not showing them to me here. Actually, let me see if I can move everything over just a little bit. Oh, I can't. I just don't want to make this too small for you guys. Of course, I did that. Oh, yep, of course I did that. See what happens? There we go. I don't want to make it too small where I can't see you guys. Just bear with me, you know, new to this process, but here we go. Just didn't want to make it too small. This way I can actually see your comments. All right, inner circle, both you and the image are blurry. That could be your internet. I'm not sure. It could be mine, to be honest with you. It is my first time trying it. There's really not much I can do because it has to do with the internet and the streaming. On my phone, it doesn't look blurry here, but we'll see once we look at the live recording. So I'm so sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So Schoolie says she doesn't see any blurring, and Holly says hi, howdy. Okay, yeah, so it might be your internet, Bridget. Like, that can happen since it is streaming. It does take up more bandwidth. Okay, great. So that is done. That is our after with just stealing some pixels. Let's move on to something a little bit more difficult. So let's say I want to add drama to this beautiful portrait of Kendall. I love her eyes in it. I love how she's looking away. To be honest with you, I do think this one's out of focus, but we're going to play with it anyway. Okay, so here we go. going to select my quick selection tool. Again, this is why I call it stealing pixels. We're going to grab the flowers here with these leaves. Make sure I have selected this whole area. And then I don't want the hands. You see how our hands are cropped kind of weird? I want to kind of cover that. So I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate that area. Let me just correct this crop. I'm going to crop it right here, right below her hands, so that her face is actually in this center part of the image, which I think is better composition. Now I'm going to drag this flower to the area that I want. I actually want it to look almost like it's just like she has a wreath around her face. So I'm going to put it right over here, and we're going to cover that arm in that yellow. And then right there, we've stolen some pixels and created a more dramatic image. All of the attention is now on the face. We've gotten rid of the hand. And so it just looks like a wreath, or almost, I don't know, it's just a lot more interesting of a photograph. And I can even duplicate it and add it to another area, which could be up here. Now, the best thing to do, to be honest with you, is to grab photos from another part of the series and then put them in different parts of the image, because that's actually going to be more interesting if the flowers all look different. But today I'm just showing you how to steal pixels and add drama to your images, fill in your backgrounds, and just make them much more interesting. Isn't this like so much more fun already? I'm going to just group them together and see how that yellow distracts you, and then boom, now the flowers just make it more interesting. I probably won't keep the top one. I don't think it's needed. But just with that alone, it already looks so much better. Now, because everything is so dark underneath her, I don't really feel like I need to add a lot of shadows. I might need to paint some shadows right over here in this area, but possibly not. So this is when your compositing skills are going to need to come in. I'm going to go right underneath that, that layer though, and I'm just going to paint a little bit of shadow. See how black that is? I'm going to change that to multiply, and I'm just going to lower the opacity a lot. So it's just a little bit, not too much, just enough to kind of give it a little bit of shadow for depth, and so that it looks like it is right there underneath her and she's further back. So I like that a lot. So that's number 2 for today. Okay, so this was another one that I wanted to do. None of these have gone through any editing. These are straight out of camera. So that's all I'm showing you guys today, right out of camera. As you guys can see, I can edit really, really fast using these techniques. So I love everything about this image, but let's say I wanted to add more drama to it, and we already know that a great way to bring attention to our subjects is by using some framing elements. So I'm going to come over here. I took some photos of these leaves. This is part of the tree. I really like this tree. I thought it was so beautiful. I wish I'd gotten more flowers from this magnolia tree, but I didn't. And so I'm just going to select this area, and I'm just going to select the tree. The cool part is there's a little bit of depth. Some of the leaves and stuff are going to be blurry, and I've just grabbed my lasso tool, selected the leaves. I'm going to again hit Command J to duplicate. Now the best thing to do when you're doing this, which is something I did not mention, is to right click, convert to Smart Object, and then what you want to do is you want to rasterize. Now, it took me forever to learn about this, but I started to realize, like, let's say I was trying to do a head swap, like where I had to put one face onto another photo. Sometimes I would get like a little bit of a wave or pixelation on the edges of the person's face, and I didn't know why. And it's because sometimes there's some compression that can happen when you're moving the pixel from one photo to the next. So by rasterizing and converting to a smart object, it kind of protects the pixels a little bit, so it's not like a regular object. So I'm going to drag it over to the new picture, and we are going to place it right above. Now you can see it's right above her head, which we don't want, so I'm just going to bring it a little higher. And now we're going to want to blend it in. There's lots of different ways to do it. We're going to try 2 ways today. The first way is an experiment. Actually never done this before, but we're going to see if it works. We're going to go to blending options, and at the bottom, it'll say underlying layer, and we're going to see if we can remove like the highlighted parts of this image and see how it blends. So I'm going to hit Option and break up this triangle, and start to blend it in. That may not work. Let's try it on the highlights since it is the highlights here. Doesn't look like it's really doing anything on the highlighted area. Okay, let's go back to this part. Okay, so I kind of like it here. And we're going to keep it there, okay? And now what I'm going to do is put a mask over it. Whoops. That's what happens when I'm clicking at different things. Lives are so much harder, you guys. Okay, I'm going to add a little mask here. I'm going to grab a black brush. It's just a soft brush, and I'm just going to go through. This is where you're going to have to zoom in, and we're going to blend all of the edges together here. Sometimes, you know, like right now, I'm doing this with the with my pen tool, but for some reason, like I just write really soft. So sometimes it's better for me to actually use the mouse, because see how much faster it is for me. I don't have to put so much pressure. Apparently, I don't use a lot of pressure. So that's another way. Of course, you can also, another way to do this is to hit select. You can do color range, and I can select kind of like the white areas. Let's see. Yep, right here. See how it kind of selected that? Can make it stronger. Hit OK. And now that it's selected, I can go in here. I'm going to hit Command I. No, it didn't do it the way I wanted it to do it. Let's try that again. Let me delete the mask. So confusing. We're going to select color range, and we're going to select to this area here. Sure, it's not very fuzzy. Okay, right there. Hit OK. And I'm going to grab my selection tool again and just kind of add this part to it. See? Add this too. And this. Nope. Don't select that part. Just right there. Okay. I'm going to hit select inverse. And then we're going to add the mask. And so now, as you can see, it pretty much got everything. We still have a little bit of a hairline, but it's much faster for me to blend in. So I can just go in like this and blend in these areas now. And that was probably the fastest way to do it. I'm going to come in here. Okay. So it looks pretty good to me. Okay, I'm going to come in with the white brush because there's pieces here that it looks like it took all the whites out of the leaf. So I'm just going to kind of paint those back on here. Some of those highlights. Okay, there we go. So that's adding a little bit of drama, stealing some pixels. It was a little touch and go there for a minute. I didn't practice this, you guys. I'm doing this here with you guys at the same time and kind of showing you how I overcome any issues, because sometimes like one method won't work, and so you have to try a different method. But this is just one of many ways to try, and you know, you can just continue to play this here with the blending until you get what you're looking for. Obviously, this is kind of crooked. The flowers are going to go like this, so I probably wouldn't leave it like that because, yeah, that would look better more like this. I do like the framing here, though, so we keep that. Let me just move it over so it doesn't bug me. Okay, but, yeah, I didn't even fill this in. But that's another method. See, like now it's going to bug me till we fix that, but I'm just showing you tips. It's not going to be perfect. All right, so that's another one. We added methods. So far we've done a little bit of framing. What else have we done? Let me see here. We've done framing. We have stolen pixels and covered things up, again, to create more framing. And then we've also filled in a background, stealing a background from another photo. And so now I feel like we don't have to do this one because I've already shown you one similar. I think now we're ready to do this one. This is going to be the most difficult one to do. How do you guys like it so far? What do you think? Do you guys feel like you're able to use these tips after this, you know, quote unquote training? Are you going to be able to use these tools for your own photos? Let me know in the comments if you're finding this useful. Okay. So again, you know, I like to duplicate things. what we're going to do first, this one's going to be a little harder. You know, we have a lot more shadows here on the right. To be honest with you, the best method for this one would be to again go to one of the other photos that maybe has more of the background and fill it in that way. But in the case, let's just say, this is why I always recommend that you take a background photo first. Like when you first get started, before your subjects are in the frame, you go in and you get a couple of digital backgrounds just to have them in the gallery in the event that you need to fill in some backgrounds. When I started to do this, it just helped me so much. So we're going to have to do a lot of collaging, like think of it as like a Frankenstein method. We're going to steal a lot of pixels from lots of different parts of the image because so much of our subjects and props are taking over the background. So I'm going to hit Command J from this selection. I took the biggest part of the background that I could take since this area does have to be brighter. And I'm going to drag it over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm going to drag it down to cover the entire background if I can. So there is a little bit of distortion with the pixels, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to grab my patch tool again, and this little area here, I'm just going to kind of patch it away just to kind of make it better. And see how it's grabbing that white? I'm going to have to clone. The reason I like to do this type of method is because I find it faster than cloning. I hated cloning. I was never good at it. I'm still not good at it because I hate it so much. So that's why I tried to figure out like a different way to do the same thing because it was just taking too long. So I'm just going to go through and kind of, oh look, I can just completely clone everything out. Let's just do that. Just going to get rid of this as much as possible. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to select this area of the background. The selection tool is so much better now than it's ever been. Right? It's all right there. And turn on this background again, and then we're going to add a mask to it, and that kind of blends it in. There's still some areas here we're going to need help with, but we're almost there. Now I'm going to unlock my background and my mask so that I can keep the mask there, but I can adjust my background so they're not going to be attached, just because I need to drag the background down a little bit more. And now as far as this goes, I can actually clone some more. I'm going to want to add some shadows because as you can see it's a little dark over here, so I'm just going to grab some of the pixels from over here that are darker. Make sure you click on all layers and just kind of clone from there. Just a little bit. Let me go to like a little lighter area as well. This is why I hate cloning, you see. Okay, now that I'm done with this, let's see, I can again go through here, and now we're going to again blend in the edges. Now, when I drop this, it looks like it unstretched the background. So again, Edit, Free Transform, click your shift and lift that background up a little bit more, okay? So now that we're here, let's go into this mask and kind of blend it in a little bit more. So you're gonna have to zoom in. Let's just blend everything in a little bit so it's not so harsh. Right here around this leaf, we're gonna have to be careful. We're gonna do our best. If it goes into the leaves a little bit, it's fine because this is like our pampas grass. I swear. I tell my whole family that I'm live streaming and they try to knock on my door every time. Tell me why. I'm just gonna blend this a little bit. Any of you who are mamas, you know my pain, right? Even daddies, if you're working from home, you know my pain. I don't care too much about this part of the grass. We're just going to go with this one. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Right here, let's try to blend this little area a little bit more. But look how much easier that was to do, right? Just like that, we've already filled it in. I'm gonna hit Command Option Shift E. It looks super crazy and difficult. Don't worry, we're gonna fix it with my favorite tool as well, which is the patch tool. And I'm just gonna drag and start to blend things in here. Now, you do want to kind of zoom in because sometimes it's going to grab weird pixels like this one. While it's a texture where I want texture, I don't necessarily want repeating patterns. So you want to zoom in so that you're not doing any repeating patterns. Okay. Okay, and then right here where these shadows are at, we got to make sure that these are nice and blended. Sometimes people tell me, oh, I try to use the patch tool like you said, and mine doesn't do that. So make sure your settings up here are similar to mine. And now I'm using the most updated versions of Creative Cloud for those of you who might be. So what do you guys think? Any questions so far? Have you guys done something similar? What was your favorite technique or tip that you learned today? Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. As far as this goes, there's several ways that you can do it. Again, it's just stealing pixels. I'm going to show you guys the easiest method for me because I just like to work really, really fast, not harder. So I'm going to actually select this part and we're going to go in and grab these pixels right here. I'm going to hit Command J. Now, I probably have better photos of the actual plants, and if you have a background image, it's even easier. I'm selecting it. I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm going to place my flowers where I want them. Flowers or leaves, whatever you want to call them. It's pampas grass, honestly. Okay, now that it's here, I'm going to go through and blend it in. It's preferable for you to do this with a mask, right? Because if you make a mistake, you can always come back and fix it. So I'm going to go in and try to blend this in here. Okay, so that's obviously doing funky things. I'm going to Edit, Transform, Warp. I'm going to warp this grass a little bit more. There we go. So that it kind of fills in where I need it to go. I don't know if you guys were able to see that, but I just kind of grabbed an edge. Now we're just blending it into the other grass here so that it looks better. So I'm just going to do this basically until I'm happy with it. Okay. Go ahead and flatten this, and I'm just going to continue to work this out until I get the grass to look like I want it to look. So that's about it. That is our training for today. You know, we'll repeat the same thing on the other side and then go ahead and go on with the rest of our image. Now, a couple of things that you might have noticed about this is none of these images are retouched. These are straight out of the camera. I shoot in Camera Raw. So what this is going to allow me to do is be able to move pixels around while still kind of protecting the integrity of the image. I don't do any light adjustments or anything prior to doing any compositing, and this is what I call compositing, due to the fact that once I start making changes to the photo, it's much harder to match the images and have the backgrounds integrate with each other. So that's why I do all of this while it's still like a brand new image and unretouched. Once I'm done with this, at this point, then I can go back to Camera Raw and start making any kind of adjustments that I might need to. I'm just going to go over some of the comments. Let's see. I don't use Photoshop for editing. Lightroom, but I love seeing how things are done in PS in case I have to use it. Awesome. This is going to be a great skill for you. You can use Control-Z to undo and all of that stuff. Shortcuts, they all work. This is how I work. Awesome. Okay, you guys. Well, I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed my first live stream on YouTube. I know it wasn't perfect, but hopefully we're going to get better. Remember, I'm going to be live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. here on my YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe, hit the bell button so you can get notifications. And here's what I'm going to do for you guys today. I am going to take, which photo should I take? I am going to take one of these photos from Kindle. I'm going to take the raw file and I'm going to upload it for you in our Finding Magic group. And I'm going to let you guys play with the photo, give it your spin. And I want you to try to use some of the techniques you learned today to add drama and make it super interested. And then go ahead and proceed to add your artistic signature to it. Don't forget to post it in the group and comment hashtag #myplay so that I know that you got to play with your edit. Yay, I'm so glad, Michaelis, that you love the tips and tricks. Don't forget again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, be sure to be following me on TikTok. I go live on TikTok almost every night and we just sit and we chit chat. I don't do any editing or anything, but we just chit and hang out, chit chat and hang out. And every Thursday, I'm dropping a new YouTube episode. This one's going to be amazing. You guys are going to learn so much. So I hope to see you on Thursday for the next YouTube episode. You guys have a great night. Don't forget to let me